Let me know what you think.
To the Batmobile. Let's go.
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Here, ready to move up.
What is up, dude?
Hey.
It's magic time.
That's what you call it.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
In your boxers.
Something about your boxers.
My girlfriend's going to assassinate this entire interview.
Oh, that's all right. We do it all by ourselves. Mr. Sean? Mr. Rourke.
This is Sean.
Hey, Sean, how are you, sir? This is Chris Mosier.
It is a pleasure to make contact with you at last.
Finally, I know. It's been many. I've been stalking you for many, many moons. I'm going to move in. I'm in my...
This is the first time I've heard your voice. In,
Yep.
Has it been like 6 or 7 years?
It's been about 6 years.
Mailing
Yes,
back
sir.
and forth. All right.
Sean, I'm going to move into the other room here and grab my phone. I'm on mic right now. I got Fanboy Will here, and it's going to take me about 5 seconds to get in the other room, and then I'll introduce everybody.
Okay.
How's it going? How's it going, Sean?
Not bad. How are you?
Oh, not too bad.
It's funny, when Christopher told me that you guys were going to be doing this podcast together, I was like, man, it's like De Niro and Pacino getting together.
Exactly.
It's like this union of titans in this one obscure little niche.
Yeah, that's us. We're titans.
We're king geeks.
Yeah.
If that means anything, I don't know.
Okay, well, let's introduce Mr. Sean Rourke from, I guess, Third Floor Productions, right?
That's probably the best way to put it, yeah.
Okay, and you're, I guess you've been talking with Will while I was gone.
Yeah,
so I don't have to introduce Fanboy Will.
He already knows my life story.
Oh, okay, cool.
About,
All right, exactly while I was gone.
I was telling Will how impressed I was with how he's able to find all this stuff on the internet. Every time I go to his site, I'm just like, oh my God, where did? And like I was listening in on your guys' podcast about the Lara Croft fan films, and you were talking about, you know, the ones that everybody's heard of. You know, obviously my friends Nick and Val for Tears of the Dragon, and
right.
the one from the guys over in England. And then you brought up, like, a couple of really obscure ones that, like, including one or two that don't even exist anymore. And I'm like, how in the hell do you find these things?
Yeah, that was actually Will came up with most of those.
Very sharp claws. Very sharp claws and a very big amount of time to do it in.
I'm at work a lot, and I get bored sometimes because there's nothing to do, and I just freaking...
Oh, so you're going to be cooler than me now.
Go to town. No. Nothing else to do. Watch the ceiling.
Look at me, I'm Chris. I'm working all day. Hey, what did I do?
Yeah, I come home and tell my wife, boy, honey, guess what I did today? And she's so impressed.
Yeah.
I found A, B, and C fan film. And she so wants to have sex after that. She is so hot.
You married the right woman.
Right? I think so.
Oh, man. Mine is embarrassed of me, to be quite honest. It really is, right?
Nothing to do with
My
fan films.
girlfriend, right? Hey.
What?
Aren't you embarrassed of me? Yes. She's made it quite clear that I'm sitting in my boxer shorts right now.
Are they Batman boxers?
Oh, okay.
They're Batman boxer shorts. No, I'm just kidding. They should be. I'm ashamed as a fanboy that I don't have any.
Yeah, exactly. You guys, if I could just take a moment, I really strongly believe in what you guys are doing, and I think that you're fulfilling a very much needed role in this, you know, exciting time that we're living in of people making fan films and making their own creative material to post on the internet. And, you know, with this new medium, you really need guys who are, you know, into reporting on it and commenting on it, and, you know, sort of it adds a level of legitimacy, and it adds a bar, and it adds community, really, more than anything else, and that is almost entirely due to you guys right now.
Shucks.
So, on behalf of everybody else, you know, thank you for being in the position that you're in, and, you know, taking such an interest in this new, you know, niche media.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you for making the awesome movies.
Absolutely.
So, well, hey,
all I can say about that.
We'll try to keep doing that.
Keep cranking them out, baby. You're a factory. Let's go. Let's go. Keep going.
Mr. Rourke, can you tell me what that bad, awful, hellish movie that you were making, or can't you comment on that you've been bitching about for a month or two?
No,
I can't say anything. I didn't think you could.
But I can't tell you in public.
No, okay.
Yeah, sorry, I wish I could.
No, I figured you couldn't. So it's something...
Don't have to kill you, Chris.
Something mainstream. Insurance is paid up.
It's sniper is already positioned outside your window.
A wife can pay off the house.
Yeah, seriously. And see the little red dot. Yeah, no, it was I've been working on a movie. I actually work in the film industry for my day job, and I've been working on a film for the last 6 months or so, which had a pretty hellish delivery schedule. And I'm happy to say that we got it delivered a couple weeks ago, and it's in the can and done, and everybody is just sort of, has crawled back to their various holes and hibernated for the last couple weeks. So it's but it is finished.
Would you consider it Would you consider it an A movie, kind of a lower budget kind of thing?
I don't actually know if it's going to wind up seeing theaters or not.
Gotcha.
I mean, you'll probably see it on DVD. I'm sure it'll play in the foreign markets, but I don't know. It is presently searching for a distributor.
Okay,
so,
we'll get right off that then.
I don't know.
Okay, very good.
Sorry.
Now, do you do that through Digiscope you work for? Or can't you say?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I can say no.
Okay.
In my 9 to 5, or really more like 10 to 8,
right.
Job world, I work in visual effects for a company in Santa Monica called Digiscope, and I can tell you that we're presently working on a movie called Push, which is by the director who did Lucky Number 11.
Yeah.
And this is, it actually looks like it's going to be a very cool movie. It's about people with psychic powers, like telekinesis and telepathy, and it's starring Chris Evans and Dakota Fanning and Jaimin Hansu. And
oh, wow.
It just looks like it's really stylish and cool. So,
very awesome.
And it'll have some cool effects in it.
Cool.
I'll tell you one
Thanks
thing.
to you.
I noticed on the Amanda Hades site is really well put together, really cool, very interactive. Did you do all that yourself, or was this somebody who did it for you?
To my memory, that is 100% me.
Really? Good job.
And basically, well, thank you. It was a learning experience. I mean, when I first sat down to start the website, I had never designed a website before. I knew nothing about HTML. I confess I still don't know anything about HTML, but I
join the club.
Yeah, seriously.
I try.
It's like you can get into it, and with a nominal amount of knowledge, you can figure out just enough to not be able to do anything real. But I found this piece of software called Freeway, which is made by a company called SoftPress, which is just like, I mean, it's as easy as using Photoshop to design web pages. So somebody recommended that to me right away, and I have never looked back. I've used that ever since. So.
Oh no, you'd probably agree with me, Chris. It's a very, very interactive, very cool website.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. It was impressive, especially when I started bugging Sean was, like he said, 6 years ago, and that was kind of, I would say, the infancy of the Internet pretty much as far as the interactive portion of the Internet. Obviously, it's been around since, the 70s, 80s? The Internet itself.
It's the military.
Yeah. But as far as interactive, and they picked up on this little thing called QuickTime, which is mostly, that's Amanda Hades was put into, right?
QuickTime? What the hell's that?
That was almost exactly how the conversation went, too.
What the hell's QuickTime?
That was what we said. There were a couple of us at the time, myself and my friends Kyle and Bill, and Bill came to us and was like, "Hey, I saw this cool thing the other day called QuickTime 3." And we were like, "Well, what is this magical thing?" And
sorcery.
We kind of looked at it. Yeah, exactly. And we were like, "Well, wow, you could make little short movies and put them on the web." And we were like, "Well, should we try to do something like that?" And at the time, we didn't know of anyone who was doing that. And it turns out that, as we started working on Amanda Hades, we found out that there was a show called NewBlood.net, which was a vampire web show that was being done in England. And then we discussed, like, about a month before we were going to launch, we found out about Den.net, if you remember any of that. It was kind of a sordid gateway to several web shows that lasted for about a year. But, I mean, it was, when we started working on Amanda Hades, and we're like, okay, well, we'll do this episodic story, and we want to make it an immersive environment. We want the website to be part of the story. We want each of the characters to sort of have their own home pages, as though they were really their own home pages. And, this was all back in, 99, 2000, before anybody had broadband.
Right. It took 40 minutes to download an episode.
Exactly.
It only took you 10 years to make.
Seriously, yeah. It was they were little postage stamp sized quick times of these episodes that were 8 to 10 minutes long. And I think we even had we posted a recommendation on the website saying, really to enjoy the show fully on a dial-up modem, you should just kick off the download and go to bed.
Yeah, all right. Go take a shower, do the dishes.
It may be ready tomorrow.
Exactly.
Emphasis on maybe.
Yeah.
Good old days.
Yeah. So that was definitely back in its infancy, and but still, it was fun to sort of be able to play in that medium before anybody else had really kind of established what it was going to be about yet.
Right.
So that's we look back on those times and are just so nostalgic.
Yeah.
Back in our day, we didn't have this broadband stuff. We had dial-up and we liked it.
I remember the good old days when you wanted to talk to somebody to throw a rock at their head.
Right.
And to get their attention. Fuck all this IM shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I throw it at the pterodactyls.
Yeah, so that was those were heady times back then. The nice thing is that the internet has only gotten faster and bigger and cheaper, and so we've just kept Amanda Hades up at the same address this whole time, and we've made the movie files now larger in aspect ratio, so you can actually watch it in a decent sized window and see what's going on now. But the majority of the website has not been touched since I think 2000.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I'm playing around with it right now, and I'm just wow, this is really, really cool. Very, very interactive. Probably one of the most interactive sites I've seen in a while. For a movie.
Yeah, you started
Hollywood stuff.
You started that. You actually did Amanda Hades in college, and then you transferred it over when you were looking for an idea for the internet, right?
Yeah, that was, and I'm always amazed at how much you know about backstories too, Chris. The original Amanda Hades was just a senior project that I did at film school, and Kyle and Bill went to film school with me. Right. And it was a 4-episode thing with a totally different cast, and it's actually not up online anywhere. I've never posted it on YouTube, but if I do, I'll let you know where it goes. Okay. But you would the only thing I think you would recognize between that and the version that we have up there now is just the face paint. The story, the original story, was not so much computer oriented. It did take place in the near future, but it was much more video at the time. The internet at that point was basically it was email, and it was some stuff on the web, but not really that much. But then cut to 3 or 4 years later, when we were talking about doing Amanda Hades or talking about doing a web show, and we kind of come through the ideas that we had generated back in the last several years, and Amanda Hades seemed like the one that was the easiest to port to this new way of telling stories. And so we just kind of gave it a more digital, more hacker spin, and gave it a definite year that it took place in, and cut the cast down from 12 people in Amanda's group down to just 3,
right? And
just focused more on the characters and less on the whole Fight the Man 1984 aspect that the original one was, which doesn't mean anything to you because you can't watch it. But it was. For the most part, it was a much better evolution. I think if you watch the original, you'd be like, "Wow, that wasn't anywhere near as interesting."
Yeah.
So,
well, that's how you evolve.
But that's how you evolve.
Right.
Right. And certainly, too, you can see where when we started doing Amanda, we started off with episode 1, and then shot episode 2, and then 3, and then 4, 5, and 6. And then we decided, and we've been playing around with the idea for a while, but we decided to act on it. We wanted to go back and shoot origin episodes, like you would have, in comic books you get like an issue 0 or an issue half.
like year 1.
I always loved those. Exactly. So we're like, we could really do that with like an episode 0, an episode half, and they'd just be like extra little things that would help to kind of fill in the gaps a little bit. And, then when we decided to do 4 of those, one for each of the main characters, and then we came back at the end and did episodes 7 and 8. So when you watch them through, like, you can start at episode 0 if you want, and it's actually a pretty decent production value, and then you get to like episode 1 and 2, and then it drops off sharply and seems like really clunky and really cheap, and so because that's where we started off at, and then it slowly kind of builds up and gets a little better and smoother as we kind of figured out what we were doing.
Amanda Hades is dead.
Do we know who killed her?
I have to know for sure. I have to see it for myself.
No! Mandy's body is at IMC headquarters. There is no way you're getting in there, much less out.
Amanda Hades, victim of circumstance or IMC hit squad? A great hero has died today, but her memory and her mission will live on. My name is Amanda Hades, the first name in broadcast terrorism.
How many of her do you guys have?
And you had me by the end of season 2, and I was so into the damn thing, and you had the trailer for season 3, and I was so psyched, and then you motherfuckers never finished.
They pulled the Republic pictures on your ass. Come back to the theater next week.
I think you had some issues with your actors or your crew and stuff, right?
Sorry. Yeah, the story behind that was that we, right as we were wrapping up season 2, and there was like season 0 and then season 1, season 2, and we had, I don't mean to spoil anything, but if you go to the website, it's pretty much spoiled by the front page anyway, but we kill off the main character of Amanda, and that's sort of how that was sort of the next to final cliffhanger. And we were bringing in a new character who was going to take over Amanda's place, but we were going to go to Comic-Con and have a booth, and we had just, like DVD software was just available on the Mac, so we made up our own DVDs of the thing, which I think you can still order through the website, which this was like going to be our big, like, hey, this is Amanda Hades, we've got, over 2 hours worth of material that we've created, it's going to be on disc, we're going to have the booth, and we wanted to create a trailer for season 3, which we were planning on shooting, and we had, mapped out the story arcs and all that kind of thing, but obviously we hadn't shot any of it yet. So we got together our actors, and we got them together for like basically a day and shot just a whole bunch of just individual shots of them doing the kinds of stuff that we were going to have in season 3, and cut that together into a trailer, and and then put that trailer on the website, on the DVDs, played it at Comic-Con, which, by the way, Comic-Con that year was the funnest thing I think any of us have ever done. Just having your own booth and having people come by and saying, what is this? And having all your friends in one place, and we had, all the actors were there in costume, and it was just an absolute thrill ride for 4 straight days.
That's awesome.
And then almost immediately following Comic-Con, and when the binge drinking hangover wore off, we got calls from a couple of our actors, and it was 2 separate phone calls, unrelated, but 2 of our actors had to immediately move back home for personal reasons. And family reasons, basically. And so it wasn't, these were not like, choices that they were able to make. These are kind of choices that were made for them. And they were moving back either permanently or for an undisclosed amount of time. And we had just killed off Amanda. So basically we were left with none of our regulars. If we wanted to continue the story.
Oh, man.
So at that point, we just basically considered like, well, we're at a good note. The story has kind of wrapped up to a certain point. We had our big blowout at Comic-Con. We had a lot of fun. And it might be better for us to, sort of turn our attention and our money toward a different project at this point. So it was a sad day when we, posted on the forums that we were going to be calling it quits on the show and moving on to do other things. But it's certainly, despite having done that, we had some great fans who, gave us a lot of, supportive reaction, like, oh, we love the show, you guys do what you need to do, look forward to the next thing. And, really the most amazing experience out of the whole Amanda Hades thing was that the people who watched the show were incredibly receptive towards it, and
very cool.
They got involved. We got the forums that we set up, we kind of presented them as this also takes place within the continuity of the story, and we had the characters posting in the forums in character, and everybody else just sort of figured that out and went along with it.
That's right.
So it became like this whole role-playing experience where everybody sort of had their own... Yeah, they had their own alias and, sort of their own character that they came up with, and everybody, there were even one or two stories that just sort of worked themselves out in the forums just spontaneously.
Cool.
So it was just a really, really fun, the funnest interactive experience I've ever had. And it was sad to leave all of that behind, but, it was kind of time, and we've been having fun doing other stuff since.
Yeah, I was cursing your name when
come to an end, as they say. All good things.
Cursing your name when I saw that trailer 3, and then...
What the fuck?
No, we're not going with it.
You son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch. So can you... Yeah, I know I've asked you a couple times. Can you give a hint to what you were going to do beyond Season 2 into Season 3? You never really gave me a good answer, because I think maybe sometime down in the future there you're gonna revisit Amanda, I think.
And I'll try to be quick for people who have not seen the show or don't care.
Hey, it's your interview, man. Who cares?
Why am I listening to the show in the first place?
What the hell's going on?
Who's this Sean Rourke guy?
Would have stopped listening by now.
How'd you get on my phone?
Amanda who?
No, kind of the direction that we were going with it was it had to do with Jarvis Island. It had to do with the Codex 3. It had to do with who killed Amanda and why, and who this new character Sarah, who is going to be played by Susan Smythe,
yes, Jamie,
she was going to be.
Yep.
And sort of what we were going to. I can tell you some stuff of what we were planning on doing. I won't tell you the whole thing because we do kind of every once in a while get together and say, it might be fun to shoot like a half an hour follow-up movie to it at some point. And we may still do that. It probably won't be this year. But basically what you were going to find out is as we were, getting to find out who Sarah was, she was actually going to be the only survivor from Jarvis Island. And she was going to basically clue everybody into, and by everybody I mean Lolux and Stinger and Troubleshooter, was going to clue them in on sort of this conspiracy that was happening to, destroy Jarvis Island because of this treasure trove of information that had been gathered called the Hades Report. The Hades Report was what Amanda had named herself after, which, the gang was going to uncover. And the Hades Report was sort of like the Bible of, conspiracy theories answered.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that the corporations were doing and the government was behind and all this sort of stuff that was happening in the world was going to be in the Hades Report. And we were going to find out that part of what Amanda was doing was she had a portion of the report that had been given to her by her father back in, the early days of the Apex Collective, and she was trying to find out where the entire report was. And there was information that was leaked that it was actually on Jarvis Island, and so the networks and the IMC decided to just blast the island out of the water to make sure that it never got out. And so it was going to be sort of a story of, well, if the Hades Report still exists, where is it, who has it, how do we get it? And it was going to wind up that the only way to really get at it was to put the Codex 3 back together in order to, commit this amazingly monster hack attack on the place that had it. And so they were going to have to try and rescue Tempest, and that was going to be a horrific event when they found out what had happened to her. And I won't really tell you what all that was going to be, because that really is kind of the crux by which the wheel was going to turn around. But that was sort of where the story was going.
So, like the JFK, whoever assassinated JFK was in that report? Is that kind of the way you were going?
Probably, yeah. We weren't going to do anything with, like, Area 51 or Roswell or anything like that. But, yeah, that would be the kind of information. The actual, like, hardcore government cover-ups it was going to be basically from the 90s on.
Okay.
But that was the type of thing that you would find in there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
How many interns did Bill Clinton actually have in the Oral Office and stuff like that?
Exactly, that would be in there.
Excellent.
Hi, Monica.
Hi, Mr. President.
You want to go for a ride in Air Force One?
Sure, Mr. President.
Well, jump in.
I'm an intern girl in Bill Clinton's world. I'm an intern. I've got rug burns, never washed my dress, so it's such a mess in the White House, not with his spouse.
Come, Lewinsky, let me in ski.
That's cool. That's probably the best answer you've given me for that.
Oh, well, hey,
I've asked you that
right
a couple
here.
times.
It took getting me on the air to
right?
actually spill
Finally,
that.
spill them. Spill your guts.
So that's kind of where it was going.
Do you guys ever have any plans for maybe like continuing it on as like an animated series or anything like that?
You did like a comic book, didn't you guys? Or
yeah, I was going to ask about the comic book as well. Yeah.
Yeah, the comic book was really just an extra promotional item that we wanted to have at Comic-Con with us, and we had a really talented artist named Mitch. Oh God, I just lost his name. I just lost his last name.
We officially just created
Hates on Jarvis Island. It's lost forever.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But he put together the comic book for us, and he illustrated the comic book for us, and then we just bound it ourselves, and it was a little ash can, and we had that at Comic-Con. But it was really just more of a promotional thing. Jack, who played Troubleshooter, wrote the story that was in it, and that was pretty much as far as the comic book went. We didn't really have any plans to do an actual series for the comic, and not that we would have said no if somebody had offered.
Right.
We were not ourselves planning on printing anything like that. So so that was as far as the comic book went. As far as an animated series, no, we never really had sort of that road open to us. We all, like I say, we all work in visual effects, so we know how much effort it takes to animate something and to do that kind of thing. And it wasn't anything that we thought was something we were going to be spending our time on. We really liked shooting and doing stuff live action, so we just never went down that road.
Okay.
But yeah.
It takes a lot less time to get out the video camera or whatever camera you have than animating, or even comic books. Just takes a super ass long time to get that shit together.
Yeah, and I mean, none of us have any real illustration skills, so it would have fallen to third parties to do all that, and that's a really big time commitment for somebody who's not involved in the project on an executive level. So so it just never went that way.
Okie dokie.
Could you tell us a little bit about this pilot you have, Salamander?
Where are my clothes? I had to ditch them. Something in here should fit. Last night was laundry night. You know what? Just forget about the clothes. Just give me the battery back to my cell phone and I'll get out of your life. The FBI can track your phone. Not if I have it off. Actually, in order to be FCC compliant, cell phones emit a small traceable pulse anytime the battery's connected to the diodes. Do you have anything in here that didn't come from a yard sale? Whatever, just give me my battery back and I'll get out of here. I'll get you a new phone. Are you in love with me? What? No. Then why are you stalking me? Following. In case, you need help.
Well, what's with all the pictures?
I don't know, if somebody got to you, I could show them around.
Yeah, someone did get to me, creep. Someone followed you here to this hotel.
Nobody followed me. Nobody even sees me.
Well, someone followed you here, and then they paid Carmen de la Cruz a fortune to come here and whack me.
Okay, how do you spell De La Cruz?
This isn't a happy Northbrook reunion, creep. Someone obviously found out what I have, and now they... When did you take that?
Just about an hour ago. The big guy followed me out of the hotel thinking I was you, and I followed him back to that guy's place.
I gotta get out of here. He's gonna find me. He's gonna find me and he's gonna kill me.
Paranoia will kill you. The FBI are right outside, and obviously one of them has been bought. You cannot leave this room or they will catch you. Everybody thinks you ditched out of this place, okay? Nobody knows you're here. This is the last place they look for you right now. If you stay in this room, I can protect you. Just let me protect you. Let me do my thing. Let me help you deal with this. Because if you leave, they will catch you. The FBI or whoever that guy is. Who is that guy?
Blake Alexander. You're no match for him, creep. He will burn you down.
Salamanders don't get burned. Only the people who play with them.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I checked that on the third floor, and I was just wondering what that was about.
Yeah, that actually is the latest thing that we've shot. We're planning some stuff here for the near future, but to date, that was about, actually, I think that was about a year ago. And what that was it was sort of, I guess it was an attempt to, sort of do a podcast that would, sort of follow more of what podcasting has become, and not what Amanda Hades was, but more of what, online entertainment is becoming.
Right.
I had been watching, I totally go to all of these podcasts and online series and stuff, and a lot of the stuff that is being cranked out by the studios now, of all people, and, people who are mega professionals in the entertainment industry. And I haven't found anything that's impressed me yet, really.
I agree.
And so I decided I wanted to write something that I could shoot, or that we could shoot, I should say, that would be a little more interesting. And I just, kind of wanted an excuse to get a group of actors together and just, do some more, kind of more dramatic stuff and less visual effectsy and, less production value and more just, character development and performance stuff. So I wrote a 22-episode podcast called Salamander, and the script was only in its first draft, really, when we found out about this competition that Xbox Live was running, which was this great competition where basically you would shoot a 10 to 15 minute episode of a series that would run on Xbox Live, and then you submit that to this, the New York Television Festival was sponsoring this Xbox Live competition, and if your pilot got picked, you would get a commitment for 6 episodes and like a $100,000 budget. So we were like, well, duh. So we basically, kind of took the Salamander script, and I took like the first 5 episodes and rewrote them so that they, were kind of compressed down into one 15-page script. Then we went out and shot that. We found out about the competition roughly 6 weeks before the deadline. And so within that 6 weeks, we rewrote the script. We got all of our actors together. We went and shot over 3 separate weekends. I spent like 2 or 3 weeks in post putting it all together, and even was racing around the day it was due to be in the mail because I didn't have the. I kept trying to FedEx it, but the address it listed was a P.O. box, and no place would FedEx or UPS or overnight or anything to a P.O. box. And it wasn't until like after the 5 o'clock deadline that I realized that they had posted a different address that you could send it to on their website. I think a lot of people were sending them emails going, help.
Those bastards.
So I had missed the deadline, but then somebody told me, FedEx actually has like some other options. And I called FedEx and I was like, what are my options? And they were like, oh, well, we have our special executive high dollar. We'll come out to your office and pick it up for you and get it there the next day. And I was like, how much does that run? And they're like, only $230. And I'm just like, do it. So they came out and picked up the discs, and they went off. And then 6 weeks later, we got an email saying, you haven't been selected. Thanks.
Yeah. Yikes.
You know, which was that FedEx guy with a bug his ass. Yeah, my money back. Which is totally fine. I mean, we didn't. I was at no point expecting to win because the prize money was just too great, and I figured everybody and their brother was going to be submitting things. But the funny thing about it was that, you know, we kind of looked at the 10 runners-up, and they were all just like kind of frat-level humor comedy bits.
I was going to ask who, like, the final big-time winner was. Like, what was his project all about, or hers?
It was actually an established podcast at the time called Douchebags.
Douchebags?
From
Douchebags?
Yeah, from what I could tell was...
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically, and I admit I only watched one episode, but it seems like it's kind of four guys sitting on a couch just talking about whatever.
Okay.
Those would be douchebags.
Like the porch. It's that's the same thing.
That's Bartles and James.
Right. But, you know, it kind of became obvious that, like, oh, well, the people who were, you know, behind the competition were obviously looking for really cheap-level comedy stuff. It didn't feel like they were looking for any sort of serious
substance
or action-packed, you know, stuff. So we basically, we shot this entire thing and sent it off, and it wasn't what they were looking for at all, which is basically every experience that people have in the entertainment industry.
Get used to rejection, baby. It's the name of the game.
Yeah, and it was, like I say, it was fine. And really what it turned out being in the end was, and we submitted it to one or two other competitions as well after that, but it just basically became like this great cathartic experience where I got exactly out of it what I was hoping for, which was to get a bunch of actors together and shoot something that was, you know, pretty serious and dramatic. And, you know, we still wound up getting some fun visual effects in there with the ghost and, you know, all the bullets and, you know, people getting killed and stuff like that. You know, all the good stuff that should be in a good podcast.
Yeah, and you like your music, I notice. You really like your music in the films that you do. Just the boom, boom, boom. It's really, that's part of it that always catches me. I forget the name who did Amanda Hades off the top of my head, but you always seem to get that really cool, energetic music together. I don't know if it's you or if it's, you know, your teammates Bill and Kyle, but you always seem to get that together.
I wish I could claim that it was all me. It actually, Amanda Hades had nothing. I am not musically inclined whatsoever. Amanda Hades was basically the work of three people. It was a band called Pleasure Unit.
Mm-hmm.
It was a friend of ours named Drew Anderson, who we went to school with, who does a lot of his own composing, electronica stuff. And it was also a band called Drawback, who we found about halfway through the project, who the lead singer of Drawback was DJ Amanda, who is somebody
that's right. That's what her name is.
In the LA area, you'll know is one of the, you know, premier sort of gothic industrial DJs in town, and she's this adorable little girl with bright red hair, and she's wafer thin, and she just, you know, spins, you know, lots of Rammstein and B&B Nation around town every week. But so a lot of the music that you heard in you know, season 0 and season 2 was Drawback. And then,
well, not that you did it, but you know where to put it, so to speak.
Well, thank you. I do have to.
That sounded really dirty.
I know. Sorry. Came out wrong as usual.
How dirty that sounded. Hey-o!
The music for Salamander, though, was all put together in the software that comes bundled with Final Cut Studios, Soundtrack Pro. That was all just loops that you can find in Soundtrack Pro, and it was all just assembled there. So that all came pretty much straight from Apple.
Okay.
So I highly recommend that software to people who need to put some music together for their pieces. Of course, there are only like something like 1,000 loops that come with the software.
Yeah.
So
and you buy all your software, like
same ones that I found.
Right, Sean. You buy all your software. You don't torrent, Sean, do you?
No.
I know.
No.
That's naughty.
What's that?
No, I don't. I don't torrent. Actually, to be honest, I don't torrent anything. I tried torrenting once, and it tied up my entire network for an entire day, and I couldn't get anything done. So yeah, no, yeah. I mean, certainly, like the one thing that that's a touchy subject. But the one thing that I always try to tell people when they're asking me, like, oh my God, like, how do I get into this? Like, the software is so expensive. The great thing about software, and especially, all the production software that you would use to work on, sort of this level of project, is available on eBay for a lot cheaper. And when I say that, I don't mean the latest versions of stuff. Like, literally, there's very little in the latest versions of Final Cut that you need that Final Cut, 4 doesn't have. I mean, you can get a copy of Final Cut 4. It'll run on any Mac because it's several operating systems old. And it does everything you need.
Right.
And it's, you can get that for peanuts online. Obviously, like script writing software, Final Draft is, I forget how much it retails for, but I think it's a couple $100. There's very little that's been added to Final Draft over the last couple versions, and certainly it's nothing. It's all just bells and whistles.
Yeah, it's nothing you can't do in Word, anyways.
They're always tweaking that. You have to catch up to it.
Exactly. So yeah, software should never be the kind of thing that is the reason why somebody doesn't shoot their own thing, because the earlier versions work just as well.
Mm-hmm. I want to know a little bit more about the Geek Week, Geek Speak situation, the podcast with you guys.
Yes.
Can you tell us about your?
Or should I just?
We can go from the beginning. You can give me a short version, whatever. I was just curious because I liked it. I liked the video podcast a lot, and
well, thank you.
I just want to know how you were involved with the project and stuff like that.
Welcome to Geek Week. This week we're at Wizard World, Los Angeles.
You get in free with a press pass.
Yay!
It was one of the most instant gratification, one of the most instantly gratifying. Is that grammar? I don't even know if that's grammar.
Yeah.
On this show, it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, that was a really fun project.
It looked like
because it was just talking about what we love.
There you go.
And that was an idea that we came up with. As with all great ideas, some night at 2:00 in the morning after we'd been talking about comic books for several hours, and and that project really, I can't take credit for the majority of the brilliance in that thing. That was mostly Jack. Bill was sort of the driving force behind that project being made to the level of quality that it was. And Bill is I consider myself a comic book nerd, but Bill is like a lord. He's like an archbishop of comic book nerddom and just, raw comic book information. And he had, this sort of idea in mind for the kind of show that he wanted to watch. And it was something that, between him and Jack, they really, kind of turned it into the sort of experience that it became, which wound up being a really fun show, I thought. I mean, although I did some of the writing on it and I directed the episodes, it was really more those guys' vision. And it just, for me, I felt more like a viewer of it most of the time that I was working on it, and, just found myself laughing at it more, I think, than anything.
I was cracking up at cracking up at the Comic-Con episode. You're like, I'm lost in the T-shirt kiosk. All I can see is Adult Swim T-shirts. I need to get my way out of here.
Hello?
Sarah, can you hear me? It's Jack.
Jack?
Yeah. Look, I went into a T-shirt kiosk about 4 hours ago, and I can't find my way out. Every time I make a turn, there's just more Adult Swim T-shirts.
Wait, slow down. Where?
Just look up. It's the biggest monolith in the entire con, and it's all made of T-shirts and evil.
Oh my God.
I think I saw a Minotaur.
Was it cute?
There's so many those fucking T-shirts.
I know. And there's like 8 of those booths at every Comic-Con. They're all.
I know. You're like, what?
Like, how many T-shirts can you possibly make? Yeah. But that was that, and I mean, so much of that, like the con coverage stuff that we did was literally just walking into the convention with a very minimal game plan and just realizing that once we got there, we had to find what was funny.
Yeah.
And so
I think people go into a project thinking you all have to be prepared and tight-assed, and like me and Chris started off.
I like this podcast.
Our first podcast was so just scripted, and Chris was like, let's just try and wing it, and thanks to him, it's the stupidity that it is now, and it's a good thing.
Well, you guys are really funny, too, and you play well off of one another, so I can see why improvisation would really work for you guys.
Yeah.
And, and in point of fact, I mean, that's kind of what we found working for us, too, is that Jack and Brian are really funny guys. And they both know comic books inside and out, so it's like you couldn't have asked for...
That's all you need.
Exactly.
All the bases were covered.
Exactly. So, between those two guys on camera, and Sarah, too. Sarah's just an anime nut. I mean, she just loves anime. And, so between the three of them, and then Bill kind of overseeing it, Bill is like this Uber producer who is, could wrangle just about anything, and I rely on him, for just living my life most days. Whenever I have a problem or
you pray to him
lost on the street, I call him, and I'm like, where the hell am I? How do I get out of here? The thing that we found out, though, while making Geek Week is that we couldn't do it every week. It was so much fun to do, but it took so much time, and what we found was that we were just going to have to do it as we were able to. We weren't, we were kind of hoping that we could do it to the specification that we wanted to and make it as good as we want, and that somebody would see it and say, oh, you know what, we want to pay you guys to do that.
Right.
And it, went to a couple different cable networks and that sort of thing, and they just weren't that interested. So
you guys were on. You guys never made it to public access at all?
We never really considered going that route. To some degree, it was like, we're already on the internet. That's where everybody's watching stuff.
I would have loved it. That's the thing too. Even if I didn't have a computer, if I saw it in the morning, like 2 in the morning, I'm just flicking through the channels. A fat guy dressed up like Thor. I would just be cracking up. Some random. What the fuck is this?
Or Kane. What character were you, Kane or the time guy? Always calling his mother.
He's
Mom.
one of the most ridiculous villains of all time.
I'm at the San Diego Comic-Con, Mom.
Just as a side anecdote, that helmet, which looks exactly like Kang's helmet, like when we were shooting the Secret Wars Reenactment Society, or when we were preparing to do that, which, by the way, that script was all Jack.
That was very funny.
Jack was making all of the costumes. Jack is an avid cosplayer.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. It was a lot of work, and he spent, just like a week and a half of making these costumes, and he does all of his costume manufacture with hot glue and rum. So he gets, he'll just be working on costumes like nonstop for like 48-hour periods, subsisting on cheese and rum. And then that is like when he woke up the next morning, that Kang helmet was on his desk. And he had no memory of making it.
Must have been some good cheese. That cheese was great. It must have been sharp cheese.
Right. So that was where Kang came from, and even though the show is over, I keep that Kang helmet in my office at home, and it's just sort of, whenever I hit a stumbling block in writing, I just turn to Kang.
It travels through time from place to place.
It talks to you.
Exactly.
Hi, this is Christopher Mosier, and I'm just chiming in here to say that's the end of part 1 of our 2-part interview with Mr. Sean Rourke from Third Floor Productions, and he'll be with us again this Saturday. So please join us then, and we'd also, on behalf of Fanboy Will and myself, we'd like to thank all our past guests and our guests yet to come and everyone listening out there for supporting the cast and all these fine filmmakers that we bring to you. Kudos to them. Fanboy Will and I are going to leave you with a tune from DJ Amanda. She's very good beat. You're going to like it very, very much. It's her music was sprinkled in some of the Amanda Hades episodes that we mentioned during this podcast. So sit back and listen, get down, make your feet be happy and dance, and move your butt around left and right and up and down. You have fun. Listen, baby. Bye-bye. Peace.